Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. We're waiting for people to join. Please stay tuned. Can you hear? Get ready for a delicious delight. Join us as Chef Kashish Batra, and I take you through a mouth-watering lemon blueberry tart recipe using Bakels exclusive blueberry filling and Rena Germany tart ring. Stay tuned for the mouth-watering final result and some exciting offers and contests for our audience. Stay tuned. We'll start the live demo very soon in next 4 to 5 minutes. We are waiting for others to join. You can watch us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you. We are waiting for join. Please stay tuned. And I welcome Chef Kashish Batra.
Hello everyone. ABC is Chef Online. It's your ultimate destination for pastry and culinary education. And you get to learn over 900 recipes from the world pastry champion and the Asian pastry champion. Uh, Besides that, you can also elevate your skills by joining our vibrant community. And stay tuned, we'll be streaming live on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So we'll just be waiting for everyone before we start. So we'll be using the products by Bakels exclusive, which has a range of fillings, which come in 5 different flavors, which are blueberry, strawberry, pineapple, dark cherry, and caramel. Besides that, the tart ring that we'll be using is from Rena, Germany. You can get these on bakerykart.com. So, what we'll be demonstrating today is a lemon and blueberry tart. And namely, there are three components. We'll be making a sweet pastry dough from which we'll be making the tart shell. We'll be making a lemon cream filling. And we'll also be making an almond cream filling, which will be going at the base of the tart. So we'll be demonstrating all elements, and then we'll be using the Bakels blueberry filling to add flavor to our lemon blueberry tart. Is everyone with us? So we can start? Yes, yes. So for our sweet pastry, we'll be using, okay, okay, yeah. Okay, so we'll be using a few ingredients and the recipe will be displayed on the screen. So you can just note down the quantities of ingredients that we require. I'll be showing you the process. So just for your knowledge, before we start, it's better that you note down the ingredients. So we'll be starting with the sweet pastry first for our tart. And before we start, I would just like to remind everyone, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to like, share and comment. So we'll be starting with the sweet pastry first. So for that, I have my 250 grams of flour and I have my salt added to the flour. I also have 150 grams of my unsalted butter, which I have cut into cubes. This butter needs to be chilled before you actually proceed with the recipe because we'll be doing something called rub-in method with the butter and the flour, where we'll be combining the two ingredients until we get a sandy texture. So the reason that we do this is because we do not want any gluten formation and we want our tart to have a short, crisp texture. So hence we combine our cold butter cubes with the flour and I'll be mixing the two using my KitchenAid paddle attachment. The reason that I'm not going to use soft butter is because I do not want any gluten formation in my tart dough. The more soft my butter is, the more chewy my tart dough will be. So I'll be using cold butter cubes to make the tart dough. Also, you can keep asking any questions that you have, and we'll try to answer all of them.
Chef, how long is the tart cook before serving?
So at least 30 minutes it needs to be cooled down at room temperature, and post that you need to keep it for 1 or 2 hours in the chiller before you actually serve it. So just adding all the flour.
Can I freeze the lemon blueberry tart?
Yes, it can be frozen. It just needs to be nicely wrapped to avoid any condensation on top. So you can freeze it and you can keep it for about 2 weeks also with the filling, as long as there is a layer of cocoa butter or white chocolate which has been put inside the tart shell. It should not get soggy. But right after it's baked, we need to put a thin layer of cocoa butter or white chocolate inside to prevent it from getting soggy. So when we put the filling, It actually creates a thin layer which prevents the tart from getting soggy. Uh, so I am using the square tart ring by Rena, Germany, and this is a perforated ring. So the vents that you see on the side, it actually helps the air to escape, which prevents my tart from fluffing up. Uh, so this one is 5 inches, if I'm not wrong, and it's the square shape perforated ring by Rena, Germany. Yeah, you can actually use mini shells as well, and you can make mini lemon and blueberry tarts as well. In fact, Gina Germany has a lot of different shapes available. If you don't want to use a square, they also have a round shape. They also have an oval shape, so you can use any shape that you want to make it look good. Yes, you can definitely use any other different fruit filling. In fact, Bakels also have a very nice strawberry filling, which will complement very well with the lemon curd. Besides that, if you want to do something else instead of a lemon curd filling, you can use the other fillings available by Bakels, which are the pineapple, the caramel, the dark cherry, or the strawberry. So, besides the blueberry, these are the other four that are available. So, you can use any that you want. Uh, Okay, so we'll be checking our uh, mixture. So right now we can still see that cubes of butter are there. It's not a complete sandy texture. So I will mix for a little longer because I need all the butter and flour to be coated with each other so that I can actually add my eggs and icing sugar. So essentially, what I am doing here is I am creating a layer of flour on top of my fat. So that is helping me get that short, crisp texture for the tart. Another few seconds and we should be done. Yes. So first thing that you need to do is make sure that your butter is chilled for the sweet paste. If it's not chilled, you will end up getting a dough which is very very soft and not ideal for your sweet paste. Next thing, before you start lining your tart, make sure you are freezing your dough properly. If your dough is not frozen, your dough will be very very soft while lining. It will break. So you don't want the dough to break while lining. So make sure it's nicely frozen. Freezing is very very important for this product. Even after we line the tart, we need to freeze it before we trim the edges, and after that we need to bake it with weights. So make sure that you don't forget to put your weights before you do the blind baking, which is the first baking of the tart. So the tart will be baked in two parts. The first baking will be done with the weights, and the second baking will be done without the weights. So make sure that you definitely don't forget to put those weights. Otherwise, what will happen is your dough will rise, and from the sides it will sink. So the center part that you see will be inflated, and your sides would have sunk down to the bottom. So to prevent that from happening and to retain the shape of the tart, we put weights inside the shell. So that is a step you should definitely not miss. Okay, so we have our sandy texture ready. So, so this is what the dough will look like. You will see this sandy texture that you will get. So we can now add the other ingredients. So first I'll be adding my icing sugar. So I'll be adding 62 grams of icing sugar to the mixture. So I'll continue to mix. I have 50 grams of my egg. So I will start slowly adding the egg once my icing sugar is combined. So yes, it's a whole egg. So 50 grams of the egg. So usually in India, one egg weighs about 50 grams. So you can just break one egg, check the weight, combine it properly, and then add it to the dough slowly. Okay. So I've added all my egg. I'll just wait for my dough to combine. So I'll actually be sheeting the dough to 3 mm, and I'll be using two parchment sheets. So just two parchment sheets that I'll be using to sheet the dough. Yes, it gives the same function essentially. So I just need to mix until I see a dough getting formed. I don't need to overmix. Again, when I see that my mixture is combined, I will stop mixing. If you overmix, again, you will end up forming a lot of gluten, which you don't need. So I'll just make sure the dough is combined before I remove it. So this is what the dough should look like. And I will just put it. You can actually divide the dough and sheet it in two parts. So I will just take some of my dough and I'll just place it between two parchment sheets. Just press it flat. It will be easier for you to roll out. Yes. So make sure that you instantly sheet the dough and then you chill it well, you refrigerate it well before you proceed, and make sure the temperature at which your dough is ambient. If you think the dough is very soft, you can keep it in the chiller for some time before you work with it. So if your dough is not cold, you'll again the butter of the dough will be soft, so you'll end up mixing the dough too much, and you don't want that. So I will be rolling this out to 3 mm. So that is the ideal thickness. So 2.5 to 3 mm is ideal for any kind of tart shell. So be it a savory quiche or a tart, 2.5 to 3 mm is the ideal thickness. So not everybody will have a dough sheeter at home, so you can always check with the scale. And after you roll this out, it's very important that you freeze the sheet. So about 1 hour in the freezer should be fine, but it completely depends uh, on how long the dough is taking in your freezer, like at what the temperature is. So usually in a home freezer, you can keep it for about 1 hour, and the main purpose is it should be very hard and frozen when you actually need to use it. Then you take it out. You can keep it out for 5 minutes. It becomes slightly pliable, but it's still very cold. So that is when it is ideal to use it. Okay, so I have rolled out my tart dough. So I'll be popping this in the freezer now. Yes, you can definitely substitute for gluten-free flour. In fact, you can also use other alternatives like almond flour. So that serves its purpose as well. So I'll be popping this in the freezer, and I have kept one frozen dough ready to show you guys. So I'll be lining the tart now. So I have a tray which is ready with a air mat. So this air mat is what I'll be placing the tartring on. So air mat actually helps with the circulation of air. Hence, it prevents in my tart from rising too much or shrinking. So I'll be using this. First, I need to use the sheet to cut out strips for the tart shell. You can just line the bottom with a baking paper. That also works. Yes. So this is my frozen dough. Make sure you release it from both sides before actually using it. So So this is my dough that I'll be using. So I'll be using a scale, and I approximately will see the length of the side of the tart. So it's coming to be about 3.5. So when I cut the strips, I want them to be slightly more than the size of the tart ring, because there is some shrinkage which will happen in the freezer. So I need to keep some excess dough for that. and then post that I can trim the dough before baking. So I'll keep it to be about 5. So what I'll be doing now is I'll be lining the strips on the side of the tart. So I will cut strips of 5 centimeter like this. I hope it's visible to everyone. So I'll be lining this inside my tart shell. So make sure you press nicely on the edges because you want to keep those sharp edges intact. So you press nicely. You might have to use multiple strips. So be prepared for that. So what I'll do is now I will just get an approximate size that I need and I will trim the rest because I don't need to use it.
How do we join two different slices of dough?
So what I do is I keep them slightly very little overlapping, and first I trim off the excess. I just make sure that there is enough overlap for the two doughs to merge, and then I just use my hand and I just press it slightly. You can see I'm going to do it here. So I'm just going to press it slightly and make the dough merge. So you can see the dough is properly merged now. Again, I'll be pushing these edges nicely towards the corner and I'll be merging this corner as well. So you can see I have excess dough coming out. So this I will trim after I freeze my tart shell. So now I need a base. So after I have lined the sides, I will take the sweet paste and I will take both sides of the tart and I will press. So make sure you press nicely.
Why should we not press it before placing
Yes, so when you actually line the tart, there is a certain amount of shrinkage of the dough that happens because right now you're working with the dough, right? So the gluten tends to stretch. So when you rest the dough, the gluten sort of relaxes, it comes back. So that relaxation happens in the freezer. So you don't want that the side of the tart should sink too much. So if I trim the edges right now and my gluten relaxes after that, I will have edges which are slightly sunk towards the bottom. So I want to prevent that from happening. Hence, I will be cutting it after it's in the freezer. So I will just trim, remove any excess dough. So this dough can actually be combined together and you can resheet it. uh, and about 2 to 3 times you can resheet and use. Beyond that, if you resheet, you'll have too much gluten development, but 2 to 3 times is ideal. 2 to 3 times you can use. Just press nicely, and you can see we have a base now. Yes. So this is what it looks like, and I'll be putting this on the mat. Just making sure all my edges are nicely pinched. So I freeze this for about 1 hour, and then I'll be removing the edges. So since I already have one which is ready for me to use, I will show you how to trim the edges on this tart itself. So make sure you hold the knife away from your face and you just trim along the edge. So this is your tart shell after trimming. So this is how you want it to look. Yes. So this is how your tart shell will look when you trim it after freezing. So I hope it's visible to everyone. Yeah, so something like this. I have even and sharp sides, so that's how I want it to be. So after this, I will be putting weights and I'll be blind baking the tart at 170 degree for about 8 to 10 minutes. So right now what I need to do is I am just half baking the tart. Okay. So you can just take some black uh, grains, some black peas or some grains, and you can just put them together in a cling wrap. So you essentially just put a cling wrap in your shell and just put some pulses or grains and just wrap the cling wrap so that actually acts as a weight. So it can be taken out and then reused for making tarts multiple times. So this will be going in the freezer now, and I will show you the half-baked tart. So I have one shell which is half-baked at 170 degree for 8 to 10 minutes. So I now need to put the almond cream inside this. So we'll be making the almond cream. Again, you will need a KitchenAid bowl and a paddle. And I have my butter, 150 grams. I have my almond powder, 150 grams. I have my eggs, 150 grams, and my sugar, 150 grams. So basically for your almond cream, you need equal quantities of uh, caster sugar, unsalted butter, almond flour, and egg. Again, eggs, we'll be using whole eggs. So the first step here is to combine the sugar with the butter. For this, yes. For the sweet paste that we made previously, we chilled the butter. Everything else was at room temperature. Over here, I can keep the butter at room temperature because I anyway need the butter to be slightly soft. Because what I'm doing right now is I'm combining the butter with the sugar. So the process is called creaming. So creaming is the name of the method that I'm using. Previously, what I used was rub-in method. This one is creaming, where basically I combine the sugar with the butter. Not a hand blender actually. You can use a hand mixer, or you can also use a food processor. That also works. Yeah. Yes, so creaming for this needs to be very, very little. So just combine until it's a very slight pale white color. You don't need to over cream. If you over cream, your mixture will rise too much. You just need to combine your butter with your sugar. For creaming, actually, soft butter is always more preferable. So hence I kept my butter at room temperature so it would be slightly soft. So my butter, yeah, for the almond cream and the sweet paste. So for sweet paste, you can substitute eggs with some milk or cream, depending on the consistency of the dough. You can add. Uh, for almond cream, there isn't really a substitute as such because the eggs actually help combine it. But then you can use a little bit of cream. But then please note that the texture and taste will be slightly different because you're not using egg. So the reason that we use egg for this recipe is actually give moisture to the dough. But since you won't be using egg, you can use a little bit of milk or you can also use alternatives such as a flax egg. So where you can use flaxseed powder, you can combine it with some water and you can make a flax egg. So that actually serves as an alternative. Yes, you can. So flax egg is actually the best alternative. And you can see the dough. You don't need to cream too much for the almond cream. Just a pale white color is sufficient. So I will add about half of my almond powder right now, and I will continue to combine. Post this, I will slowly start adding my egg with some. You can flavor it with some lemon zest or some vanilla. So before I add my remaining almond flour, I will just scrape the sides of my bowl to make sure everything gets mixed properly. Okay, I can now add my remaining almond flour. Okay, so what I have now is my almond cream. So this is what it should look like, the consistency. I will transfer this to a piping bag so that I can pipe it inside my tart shell. So you can use a piping bag and just pipe some of it inside. Okay, so I just want a thin layer of this on the base, not too much because I need to save some space for the lemon curd. So I'll be piping it now on the base. Make sure you pipe an even layer. Okay, so this is what it should look like after piping in the half-baked tart. So I hope everyone can see. Just a thin layer on the base. So I will be baking this now for about 15 to 18 minutes more until my tart shell gets a light golden brown color, and also my almond cream is baked fully. So post baking, we will be filling the lemon curd. Okay, so what you guys see now, this is my fully baked tart shell. So you can see I have a nice golden brown color on the edges, and my almond cream is fully baked. So this is what it will look like. Yes, this is what it will look like. For everybody watching through YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, I'll show you guys again so you can see. And you can see I managed to retain my sharp edges. So next, what I'll be doing is I'll be making the lemon cream. So for that, I have my ingredients ready here. So I have my lime juice, 125 grams. I'll be adding that to the pan. I have 138 grams of my whole eggs. I have 75 grams of my caster sugar, to which I will be adding some lemon zest. So you can use about 1 lemon for this recipe. Just some nice fresh lime zest. I prefer adding it to my sugar. So you can even add it prior and keep, because the sugar actually absorbs the flavor from the lemon zest. Make sure you don't zest too much. You just zest the top layer. If you end up zesting too much, you will remove the pith, the white pith also, and then you'll have a very bitter flavor. So you don't want that. So just the top layer, and I'll be adding this to the pan. So I will start by whisking. So I need to continuously keep whisking throughout the entire process, and I need to cook it uh, like uh, to a thick consistency, like an anglaise. So it needs to be cooked on direct heat to about 82 degrees. Basically, the cue is that it will start to thicken up, and that's how you know it's done. Uh, so 82 degrees actually the temperature to which it will get cooked, but uh, honestly, the way to check is that your mixture will start to thicken up like a creme anglaise. So usually for creme anglaise, the temperature that we follow is 82. So you will just see while you are whisking, you will start that the mixture will start to become thick like any normal custard that you make. So how you cook a normal custard, when the mixture thickens, you stop cooking the custard. The same way, when you feel that while whisking the mixture has become thick, you just stop putting it on heat. You just remove it off the heat, and then we'll wait for it to cool down slightly before we add the butter. So don't cook this at a very high temperature, or else you will end up overcooking your eggs and the mixture will curdle. So yes, just a low flame, a very low flame. So when I started out, my mixture was very liquid, and right now my mixture has started to thicken. So you will see that you know it's done, you know it's thick enough when the mixture, when you scrape at the bottom of the pan, you can see the mixture leaving the pan. So that's how you know it's done. So you guys can see that my mixture is now thick. So you can see the consistency. It's quite thick now. So I will be transferring to a slightly long jug because I will need to blend the mixture. Okay, throughout the process, just make sure, remember to keep whisking, or else you'll end up cooking the eggs. And then you'll have lump of eggs throughout the mixture, so you don't want that. So I have 188 grams of my butter. So I will slowly start to add my cold butter. If you can add cold butter initially, but if you want to add soft butter, you need to wait for the mixture to come down below 40 degree. So I will start, I have room temperature butter, so I'll start adding a few cubes, and then I will start to blend. So the reason that I blend is because I want to emulsify my butter properly into the mixture. So I will slowly add cubes of the butter. Okay, so I will be adding all my butter. So I've added it in four parts. Okay, so My lemon cream is now ready. So, okay. So I'll be pouring this mixture into the tart shell. So pour until the top. Yes. Uh, the recipe for. Okay, so the recipe will be shared online on the Bakerykart page. So you can always go back in case you forgot to note anything down. Also, one more thing, we will be having a contest where we would love to see what you have created using the recipe. So don't forget to tag Bakewell's Exclusive, don't forget to tag Bakerykart and Apka Online. The last day for submissions is 27th May, and we'll be waiting to see your creations, and lucky winners will be winning a few hampers from Bakerykart. So yes, don't forget. So I have poured the lemon cream to the brim, and I will just slightly shake the tart to settle down the lemon cream. I need to now refrigerate this for about 2 hours in the chiller before I can start to put the garnish on top. It needs to be nicely set. Okay, so I have my chilled lemon tart now, which has my lemon cream properly set. So now I will be using my Bakels blueberry fruit filling for the top. Um, so the one that I'm using here is 500 grams, and I have some of this ready in my piping bag. So I'll be piping some on top of my tart. I'll leave out the edges so that that nice yellow lemon cream is visible to everyone. Yes, that's a good enough amount of blueberry. And you can also garnish this. So I'll be using some fresh blueberries as well. I have some fondant flowers, but you can garnish with whatever you have available or whatever you want to use. Some little fondant flowers for the top, and I have some meringue kisses. So I'll be putting these. So this we have now our lemon and blueberry tart ready. So you guys can just take a look. This is what it looks like. Yes. I hope it's visible to everyone. So we appreciate your support with this demo, and if you're watching this on YouTube, we request you to subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, please like, share, and comment on the video. You can always go back to the video for the recipe, and don't forget about the contest. Don't forget to tag Bakerykart, Bakels Exclusive, and Aapka Online. Remember, the last date of submission is 27th of this month, and the winner will be announced on 29th of May, and you will be winning some exciting hampers as well. And remember, you can always use BE20 for a flat 20% discount on Bakery Cart, and see the exclusive range. And if you enjoyed this recipe, please don't forget to comment with a thumbs up, and we're excited to see what you make. Thank you.
Thank you, chef, for this wonderful recipe. Uh, we are coming up with the next session on which will be an offline session at Academy of Pastry on coming Saturday. Please leave your comments for comments uh, of what recipe you would like us to go through. We would look forward to see you all. We'll be sharing more details by coming Monday. We have a reserved seat of approximately 30 participants who can come and join us for a offline session with Academy of Pastry Arts and Bakery Cart. We look forward to see you. Thank you everybody for joining us.